Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard, going into week 7 for the NFL season. We got some good games today. Some that I'm curious to pick, some that I'm not so excited about talking about with you. But we're gonna go through them all. First of all, Smokey, how are you doing?
Oh man, I'm once again doing really well, and I actually beat you by 3 points last week.
What?
Yeah.
That's too much. Which ones did I whiff on?
Let me go back. Let's see
bad.
here.
That picked New England.
You picked the Chargers, of course. There's no way you weren't going to pick the Chargers.
Yeah.
Oh, and they got demolished. Jesus Christ. Like, what happened there?
I'm telling you, Aaron Rodgers sent Justin Herbert an email after that. I was like, yeah, I feel that pain 120%.
I bet. Mm-hmm. You picked the Browns over the Cardinals. Yeah, you picked the Seahawks over the Steelers. And that one might as well have come true. Okay, so we both were wrong about the Bills beating the Titans. And
that was a weird call, by the way, on fourth down. I mean, you got Josh Allen, but he's not supposed to really be stopped, but that was a dubious call. I mean, you can kick the field goal, and you know you have a better offense. Like, take overtime, right? Julio's already hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think you take overtime there.
No, that's it, man. Fire McDermott.
Yeah, for that one play.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta take some risks. I guess he was thinking business. So they have a bye week this week. So
yeah.
Curious to like find out if it is going to hurt Josh Allen and the kind of the MVP situation. I got the poll out on the channel again, the weekly poll for MVP voting, and like early developments, like Josh Allen's not necessarily the most popular name, and I think Justin Herbert's going to kind of drop down the board a little bit as well. For me personally, I got if I had to pick this week, I'm going to go Matthew Stafford, I think, because Josh Allen lost. I mean, not really his fault, but Justin Herbert Chargers just got demolished. So I'll probably be on Stafford at the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
But you can vote on that as well if you want to. My community page. We're gonna get into these games. What's the overall standings now? By the way, are you ahead by a point? Are we equal?
I'm actually ahead by 2 points now.
By 2 points.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I gotta catch up a little bit.
Yes.
Gotta get close here.
Starting away from my page. Oh, my bad. I flipped away from my page. I was gonna tell you the overall score: 58-56.
All right. Yeah, it's close. I'm expecting it to remain that way, but I gotta catch up, and I'm doing that this week because I got every game right this week. I already know.
All right.
Starting off Thursday night, Broncos at Browns.
Yeah, I mean, this would not be as hard as it was to pick if we didn't see what just happened this past week. Obviously, without Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, although Kareem Hunt wasn't extremely productive in this game, but they're going to be out of both of those guys this coming week. They're going to give the carries to Dearness Johnson. And the guy, I mean, he's no superstar, that's for sure. I mean, where's anybody heard of Dearness before the NFL, before the Browns has to use him last season? Now, that being said, the Browns use the run to set up the pass. And of course, Odell being banged up, Jarvis Landry may be back. That makes this really tough. But on the other side, I didn't know how many picks was going to be thrown in that game by Teddy Two Gloves over there. So, I don't know, man. I'm going to say this is a toss-up again and just give the 3 points to the Browns and go with the Browns on this one.
There's a lot of uncertainty about this one, right? We don't really know the quarterback situation for either team. This could be Drew Lock versus Case Keenum for all we know, and this is like a day from now. So this game's happening very soon. We don't know much. If Baker's playing, I would say advantage Browns probably, though he's not like by any means exceptional. He's good enough to win with a decent team. Browns have been underwhelming so far this season, though. I gotta say that. Like, if we picked this game before the season, it'd been a no-brainer. But now it's close. We don't know if Teddy Bridgewater's playing Drew Lock. To me personally, not a big difference between them. Teddy Bridgewater has kind of the veteran presence there, probably the better choice, if possible. But I'll agree with you. I'll take Cleveland as well, though it's probably not going to be a very attractive game. I don't think this is going to be like a great Thursday night game, to be honest. With the injuries, with the kind of mediocre seasons both teams are having, probably not the greatest spot, but I'll go with Cleveland. Panthers at the Giants.
Now, this game is interesting, too, for me, because you were very high on Sam Darnold going into this season, and he looked great for 3 games. I was very high on my boy that I forgot his name real quick.
That's how high you were on it, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
His name just like slipped my mind as soon as I was about to say it. But yeah, I was. I mean, you know it. I've said it on this show. Daniel Jones, he was set up except for a few faults in the team. You know, he had a path to be great this year, but this concussion obviously did something, because he was not the same guy after that. That was not the Daniel Jones that I saw in the first 4 or 5 games of the season. But then on the other hand, Sam Darnold must have had a concussion somewhere too, because that is not the Sam Darnold that was Sam Newton and running all over the field and being able to pass down to DJ Moore at any given moment. So I don't know. I don't know where to go with this. I'm just going to do it again and say the 3 points goes to the home team and hope that Daniel Jones can put it back together somehow.
So you better pick. I was going to say you better pick the Giants after this whole talk about Daniel Jones and how you implied the divide, you know, with our disagreement there. You had to pick the Giants, absolutely. Yes. And of course, I have to hold up my end of the bargain and pick Carolina, and I'm going to do that. Christian McCaffrey on IR. Not good. That is not good. We know that's not good. He's their most valuable player by far on that offense, and him being out just perfectly correlates with the team underperforming. We've seen that a million times. He opens up the offense. I've never claimed Sam Darnold is some Aaron Rodgers who will win with no matter who surrounds him, but he's a more than serviceable, above average quarterback in the right offense. That offense requires Christian McCaffrey in the passing game, in the running game, and opens up the other alleyways for other people to perform. I think structurally, though, I'll say that Carolina, I think, is a better team. I think what they're building with Matt Rule is probably just fundamentally more sound than the Joe Judge mess that's happening in New York. I still don't really believe in it. I think Daniel Jones is a serviceable quarterback by himself on the same level as Darnold, but team-wise, man, I have to go with Carolina. I like what they're doing more, and I think their offense is going to prevail. They also have a fantastic run defense, by the way. Kind of shadowed a little bit, but by being a bit more shaky against the pass, especially over those past few games, they gave up some bone-breaking plays, which were completely unnecessary, but very, very strong run defense. All those first-round picks we're talking about, Brian Burns and then Derek Brown, they're paying off. And it's really starting to fall into play, but they're gonna have to perform this time. I think this is a game you can't lose. If you're Carolina and you still want to be a serious contender this year, stick with the Bucs in your division. You have to beat the Giants. So I'm gonna pick the Panthers for sure. Speaking of divisions, Jets at the Patriots.
Well, I hope the Jets got some rest, because they got demolished over there in England. Although there was that time where they were trying to come back, because that's what the Falcons let everyone do, so they had to get their turn also. Patriots, yeah, not bad overall. Mac Jones, I guess you could say he's kind of on the Tom Brady path, because he does just enough. Like, he's only good enough to get wins. Like, he's not flashy. He just is what he is, and that gets you wins sometimes. And against a bottom-of-the-barrel, poor Jets team, I got to take the Patriots here.
So, you thought the Jets lost in England? It's time they lose in New England as well? Yeah?
Yes,
right, back-to-back weeks. Yeah. First of all, I agree with that, and on the point of Mac Jones, I'll once again jump in to defend him. The most disrespected quarterback of the entire class of the last few years I can imagine. Yeah. Number one is by far the best rookie quarterback in this class so far. As I had predicted, he would be the most ready to start. Yeah, and secondly, in 6 career starts, has outplayed 2 MVP, straight up 1v1 outplayed 2 MVP candidates in Tom Brady, Dak Prescott already. And he's doing it on a mediocre team. This New England team is not as stacked as it used to be 3-4 years ago with the veteran receivers, all the veteran defensive players. This is kind of a rebuilding team. Do not, under any circumstances, look at this record for New England and underestimate what Mac Jones is doing. He's doing exceptionally well for given the circumstances he is in right now. And because I know that Bill Belichick always is going to find a way in the long run to be successful, I do believe in this team, in the future, in the long run. And this, of course, a game against the Jets. Bill Belichick versus rookie quarterbacks. I think we know how this is going to go. Jets are not very good, of course, we know that. They're in an even deeper rebuild. I will take the Patriots. Kansas City Chiefs at the Titans.
Another tough game, in my opinion. Another tough one to pick because the Titans showed that they can hang with the Bills still. Right when people started giving up on the Titans, they say, hold on, we still have Derrick Henry. And as long as we have Derrick Henry, we're going to win, or at least win a decent amount, win 3/4 of the time because of Derrick Henry. He's the Christian McCaffrey of the team. Say what you want about A.J. Brown and Julio and Ryan Tannehill, but those guys are not going to win without Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry puts you over the line, and he's going to run all over the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs have no run defense. They are the opposite of the Panthers and the Bucks. They can't stop this team. I know that they can put up points, and they show that. They've been up and down this year, but they can still put up points even in their losses at any given moment. That's just how Patrick Mahomes is. But I will stick with the Titans at home here.
It's a very interesting game to pick. I think the Chiefs in a lot of ways are like the Buffalo Bills, which the Titans honestly just play with an absolutely elite quarterback, MVP caliber quarterback. Could throw it all over the field and make plays by himself. Super explosive. Just mismatches all down the field. Stephon Diggs versus Tyreek Hill, and even a tight end. There's a lot of players on this Bills team that are beginning to come out. They're really, really good, and they're really, really deep roster. We saw the Bills obviously quite easily beat the Chiefs, and it makes sense to pick Tennessee here. However, there's two reasons I'm not gonna do it, and I'm gonna pick Kansas City. It's because I don't think Tennessee can do this back-to-back games. I think they should have lost to the Bills. I think they're a worse team than the Bills, and they won due to some chain of circumstances that were rather fortunate. I don't think they're legitimately better. And also, Kansas City is still fighting for their lives. They're in a strong division. We saw the Raiders perform. We know the Chargers are good. Kansas City right now is fighting for their playoff hopes. They cannot afford to drop random games and lose games. They have to win. And this is what, if you make $500 million, that's why. To win games like this. So I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to say the Chiefs win the game. And I expected you to pick the Titans after last weekend. It makes sense, but I have to go with Kansas City. The Washington Footballs at the Green Bay Packers.
Well, this should not be a match. This is maybe the easiest to pick on this entire slate right here. There's no way this should be a match. Washington and Taylor Heineke is horrible. I thought Taylor Heineke had something going. He looked halfway decent. He could actually run. He's a little mobile. He was making plays to Terry McLaurin. But over the past 2 weeks, all of that went away. I don't know if it's when you lose your star tight end, do you lose it all? But you guys might want to get him back as soon as possible. On the other side of this, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, and you don't bet against Aaron Rodgers, especially in Green Bay. Going with the Packers at home.
Yeah, I'll pick Aaron Rodgers as well. I mean, this defense has been super under. I saw an interesting statistic. They were projected by all measures to be a top 5 defense, this Washington defense, and they ended up right now as at least their bottom 5. And that's supposed to be the backbone of this team, and it's not a great surprise that they're kind of collapsing. That, of course, with Ryan Fitzpatrick getting hurt and everything's backfiring, it's not looking very good. Divisions already looks very out of reach. It might be the worst team in there. Green Bay wins. Aaron Rodgers wins. Green Bay, I'm not even going to say Green Bay because they don't, and no one on the roster deserves recognition because Aaron Rodgers carries them so hard. But Aaron Rodgers is going to win. And he's going to throw to a receiver who's probably like the 30th best in the league or something, but looks like top 5 whenever it's Aaron Rodgers and nowhere else.
Yeah.
I think we're talking. I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay, the Falcons at the Miami Dolphins.
Man, maybe a tank bowl. I don't know. Wait, either one of these teams
Maybe.
seem like they could put something together at any moment. It's gotta hurt though, coming off of a loss to what a lot of people said was the worst team in the entire league, and you had Heisman runner-ups facing off against each other, and actually those two guys had win at it in the national championship, but Tua couldn't pull it out. He just couldn't quite get it done over in England, and the Falcons have had a week to rest after their trip to England. So I'm gonna go with the Falcons because they should, by all means, they have the more talented team, in my opinion. I mean, you say what you want about the Falcons' running back situation, but Miami has an even worse running back situation, and wide receivers. We have stars. They have soon-to-be stars, future stars. Gotta go with the Falcons.
I do agree. I think I'm going to go Atlanta as well, just judging from their last showing. Now, I will say that Jacksonville by no means is the worst team in the league. I've never considered them that. I always consider them better than their record. And there's a team that I consider most certainly clearly the worst in the league, and
Yeah,
we'll get to them. I think we know we, but I'll get there later. For this one though, man, Tua's gonna need some help. I mean, you're really not making it easy for him. They drafted him. They were gonna surround him with all this talent. Man, it's not working out so far. You gotta keep on building this roster up. I don't think this season's gonna be very successful. So Atlanta to win it as well. Maybe a tank bowl, but I think both teams are kind of in that next tier, that like mediocre tier that's just above the really tanky teams.
Yeah.
So probably no future number 1 overall picks to be given out here, but Atlanta wins. Bengals at the Ravens.
And before I move on, speaking of tank bowl, I just thought about something. What if Matt Corral is the next quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons? That would be interesting.
You'd like that, right?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, better than Spencer Rattler.
Oh, well, yeah.
Bengals and Ravens. This is the match of the week, in my opinion. Both of these teams look great. And I want to point out, I didn't say it earlier, but I picked the Browns to be last in that division. And so far, they're working on it. And the Bengals have crawled out of the gutter, man. These guys, they look like they've put it all together. Joe Burrow is what he was drafted to be. And on the other side, you have the Ravens, who just dominated your new favorite team over there and your new favorite quarterback. I didn't think the Ravens defense had it in them this year. Like we were talking about in the last game, defenses, they don't hold over from one year to the other. We've learned that through fantasy football, that defenses, you can project them for whatever you want. The production just doesn't stay there from year to year. Don't really know why that is. There's no scientific reason for it, but it happens. Ravens, though, their defense looks great. They really did a number on the Chargers. I'm going to pick the Ravens at home, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals took this.
Man, the quarterback talent is unreal. I think this is like a real opportunity for Joe Burrow to like prove himself as an elite, or a competitively elite quarterback against this defense for Baltimore. Baltimore's looking stacked. The offense, once they get going, almost unstoppable with Lamar, obviously. I do agree that this is probably the game of the week. This is likely the best matchup we're going to see. Instead of, maybe you could argue Kansas City and Tennessee is very strong, but this one is probably the fan favorite. I will also go with Baltimore, though very similar to your note. I would love to see a competitive game, and there's a chance. I mean, Cincinnati's no joke this year. They're no pushover, and I think they'll fare well. Also, additionally to what you said about the Chargers and them being my new favorite team, of course, blasphemous in many ways, but I will admit that I do like them a lot more than I'm supposed to like anything related to LA sports, and that's probably because they started in San Diego, so I didn't have like this rivalry with them right from the start, because our LA team, I have to hate them. By the way, did you see that game 5? I'm gonna interject here, but that game 5 with the Giants and the I stayed up all night to watch the worst umpire in the league call someone struck out on a 5-0 count.
Yeah.
For them to lose the game 2-1. Really? That's what I stayed up all night? Come on.
Oh,
that
dude,
was one of the worst moments ever.
Were mad.
Rightfully so. Replay the game. Fire that man. That was the worst. That was the worst officiating. I watch the NFL every day, every week, and that is the worst officiating I've seen in sports all year, and that means something if you watch the NFL. Because
you should have watched the Tennessee versus Ole Miss game. That was a doozy.
Yeah, I'll have to look at more college football as well. But I feel like the officiating, like everywhere, it's just, man, I don't know. You can't keep up with the performance with the athletes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm picking Baltimore here. The Lions at the Rams.
Oh man, this is it right here. This is the only team left in the running for the first ever 0-17 team. And right now, they are on a great pace to accomplish that goal. This is a revenge game on both sides of the field. This is going to be awesome. I don't know. Well, actually, I can't say I don't know who's going to get the revenge, because I think it's quite obvious that the Rams and Matt Stafford are going to try to beat the Lions by 50 points in this game. Matt Stafford is going to be relentless. He's going to do everything he can to make sure they hang a 50 on this team. I gotta go into Rams, especially at home.
Like thinking about how you just said that, I very clearly recall a very specific game from, I believe, 2014, when the Denver Broncos with Peyton Manning, they were facing the Houston Texans in the regular season, and like by the third quarter, they were winning by like 30 points, and they were passing on every play down to the last second. Just that was on Peyton's record season, right? Just clearly on a mission to hang as many points as they possibly can against what was like the defense made up of like high school kids. Basically, they made it look like that. The Texans were awful then. That's the same thing that might happen here. I do agree with you. The Lions are completely falling apart. I mean, you have Dan Campbell already criticizing Jared Goff and taking shots at him, and really his entire team. This season is like a legitimately 0-6, 0-17 actually. And imagine making the infamous history of not only going 0-16, but then also being the first team to go 0-17.
Yeah,
there's legitimate danger there for the Lions. This is not looking very good. I'll take the Rams, obviously. No doubt about it. Spread is 15 points, by the way. For anyone who wants to bet or wants to like gamble some money, the Lions are the Rams are favored almost 8-1. So. If you have a knack to believe that the Lions are going to miraculously win somehow, you can make some big money there. Eagles at the Raiders.
Yeah, there was something we overlooked last week, and that you get a 2-game bump for changing out your head coach. We forgot that rule, and now here it is. And with the Eagles being horrible anyway, the Raiders looked dominant, head coachless. Like they just looked like, hey, we figured it all out. It was the coach all along. I'm gonna go with the Raiders because I do think the trend stands as a 2-game bump for firing your head coach.
Now, the thing is, this is so perplexing, right? Because for like the first time in his entire Raiders career where John Gruden should not have been fired is when he got fired. And typically those past coach firing bumps happen when it's because when the coach got fired because he sucked, not because of some random construed bullshit. So kind of surprising that they played so well, but I guess the team at its core is decent. Now they're gonna end up going 8-1 obviously because fate has to fall into place, but this Eagles team is not very strong. I don't believe in Jalen Hurts a whole lot, so I'm gonna go with the Raiders as well, especially after their last win last week, which I didn't expect. This one may actually be an even worse one than the one, or one of the worst ones, compared to the Lions and Rams. Texans and Cardinals.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the only team still left in with a possibility of being 17-0, which I really don't think that's going to happen. But the Cardinals were dominant last week, and more so than we thought, coming off of that hard-fought struggle win the week before. Now they just come out and say, hey, we can still dominate games too. DeAndre Hopkins is still DeAndre Hopkins. And we have, a guy that was compared to Julio as our second wide receiver. Not to mention, we brought in Zach Ertz. after that Thursday night game last week. So this team could be on to something, man. They could get on a hot streak, and I'm sure people are already penciling them in to be in the Super Bowl, which I don't know. I'm still sticking to the Ravens and the Cowboys, but I go with the Cardinals here. This is another one of those blowouts that's waiting to happen.
No, since I don't have anything intelligent to say about this game because the pick is obvious, Arizona, I'll just take a cheap shot at them and say that, of course, we all know the old verbiage, people going to the Super Bowl talking about we're going to Disneyland. Mm-hmm. If the Cardinals are really headed for that destination, I suggest they draft a quarterback that is tall enough to get on all the rides. Moving on to the Bears and Buccaneers.
Yeah, another blowout that's going to happen this week. Man, a lot of those coming up. Be prepared to get your bets in. Yeah, there's not much to say about this. The Bears, I mean, it's Matt Nagy. Like, you can say what you want about Justin Fields. I think the guy still has potential, and he's going to develop into a decent quarterback in the NFL. But it's Matt Nagy. They still have Matt Nagy. Dan Campbell might be one and done and finish before Matt Nagy. Or one of those two are going, I think, if the Lions don't start winning something. But yeah, Bucks at home. This is no contest.
Dan Campbell might be out really soon. Different topic, though.
Yeah.
I have to agree once again. Not much controversy here. Tampa Bay still maybe not as dominant as they were last season, but still a phenomenal defense. Justin Fields obviously is starting before he necessarily should, like it's the case with most of these rookie quarterbacks, except for Mac Jones, who was the one who was ready, which I said at the start of the season. Never mind. But he's starting because Andy Dalton got hurt.
Because of the team he's on.
Also because the team he's on. Not necessarily.
If Kyle Trask would have went to the Patriots, he would be doing the same thing right now.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes,
what do you mean?
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. No one would. The Patriots are not like a very good team. They've been decimated a bit over the past few years. This is not the team that...
The exact style quarterback that they won godless, how many amounts of championships with.
If Tom Brady is on the current Patriots team, he's not. He's going 500 too. Maybe win 10 games. But this is not the Patriots team that went to the Super Bowl.
I mean, there's no Randy Moss, but
But there's no Gronk. There's no Edelman. There's no Stephon Gilmore.
There's something to be said for putting Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry together to equal a Gronk. I think that's comparable.
I'm not really buying that. No, that's like stuffing two engines like 100 horsepower each under your hood and claim you got a Ferrari. No, doesn't work. Doesn't work like that. I will say though, Tampa Bay is going to win the game. They're still a better team than Chicago. As much as I like Justin Fields, I think he has potential, but he's not in an optimal scenario right now, so he's not destined for like super success. Colts at Niners.
I just thought of something before we move on. That's another thing that Trevor Lawrence beat Justin Fields at. He got the first win in the NFL before Justin Fields did.
He did.
Yeah. That's been happening their whole life. We don't have time to talk about that right now. Colts.
And then there's Mac Jones, who was like weeks ahead of both of them.
Yeah.
Different story.
I mean, yeah, they were. We'll talk about it later. Colts and Niners. The Colts are actually picking things up. I know that Carson Wentz has been in the Frank Reich system before, so you can say that he should have already figured it out by now. But regardless of what happened, he's getting it now. The offense is humming. T.Y. Hilton is back, which actually helps this offense. Kind of hurts my Michael Pittman breakout season, but still, the team looks good. The Niners, I don't know how they're going to look when they come back. Half the team is still hurt. There's no George Kittle. Your best player's not going to be on the field. I'm going to go with the Colts. Take this on the road.
Man, this I can offer you the Niners perspective, and this is a doomsday game. I mean, there is going to be fire if the Niners lose this one, because one, it's going to put the division out of reach, and two, we still don't really have an identity this year, because offensively it seems like two completely different schemes with Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo's on the field, and neither of them have really executed it that well. And that's another point, by the way. We have no idea if or who is going to be our starting quarterback? Is one of them going to be healthy? Are both of them going to be available? Or are they going to flip-flop them? Or is one of them forced to start? Maybe banged up a little bit? No idea. All that being said, I will pick the Niners. I will pick the Niners for the reason, number one, that you picked the Colts, but I would pick them anyway. But I also pick them because I kind of have to. It's the only coping mechanism I have this early in the season. If like I surrendered now, and I already acknowledged like the Niners are this bad, like they're just completely mediocre, and they can lose to Indianapolis. I mean, what am I even looking forward to? Basketball is starting. The Warriors aren't hopelessly overmatched by the Lakers. I guess that's good news. You know, they're like a 3-point favorite or something. The Lakers are. That's not a big deal. Watch basketball all winter. That's not what I'm here for. So I gotta pick the Niners. I gotta pick the Niners, hoping Jimmy Garoppolo's back, hoping he's gonna stay back for the rest of the season. Now, Trey Lance didn't look as overwhelmed as I thought or feared he might, and if need be, he could start, but to not much success, at least this year, in my opinion. So Jimmy should be hopefully back and hopefully get back on track on the back of that defense, which has been the bright spot. And then Monday night, we have the Saints at Seahawks.
Yeah, this is no Russell Wilson. The team is not good without Russell Wilson. Like, Geno Smith, he might as well not have a DK Metcalf out there. He doesn't know what to do with it. He's not... Man, why is he the backup? Why is he still in the NFL? Why did Pete Carroll think that's a good idea, that Geno Smith is going to be our backup? I mean, I guess it's better than a David Blau or a Nathan Peterman, but Geno Smith is your backup. And maybe he never expected Russell to get hurt, so he's like, hey, the guy's cheap. On the other hand, we got the not-so Russell Wilson, but still better than Geno Smith. Jameis Winston and the Saints should take this one, even in Seattle.
Man, I don't think Geno is that bad. Like comparatively, like in the grand scheme of things, when he stepped in, when Russell got hurt, he did fairly well. And then he took the Steelers to overtime. I mean, you got to consider this, like, this is not a very good team. This is a mediocre to below average team with an exceptional quarterback. This is like the Packers light. And yeah, the team is bad without Russell Wilson. Shocker, right? So you would expect a team like that, like a random backup steps in, they're falling off a cliff. That's not what's happening. Now, of course, they're not competitive. They're probably going to miss the playoffs. What?
Well, look who they played, though. I mean, that was the Steelers. The Steelers are no world beaters right now.
Steelers. No, they're not. But, you know, they're average. You would think this is like one of the worst teams without Russell Wilson. They could have beaten the Steelers, and they were competitive against Tennessee when Russell got hurt. Geno did no worse in that game than Russell. Like, he came in and he looked the same. He might have looked better. Made it more competitive. I don't, like, of course he's not a starting caliber quarterback. By no means. A few backups really are. I think Philadelphia has one. They should probably get in sooner rather than later, but I've been harping on that for a long time. Maybe Mitch Trubisky for Buffalo, but that's about it. But pretty close to it. I'm gonna pick the Saints here as well, and that is because probably fundamentally they have a better team, and with no Russell Wilson, Seattle is kind of missing that X factor, right? That beating the odds, Aaron Rodgers Jr. kind of playmaker who'll just in like the face of adversity, he's gonna pull it out and somehow make a miracle happen in the fourth quarter, which he's very good at. Geno Smith, while serviceable as a backup, in my opinion, fully, I don't quite see why he should not be in the NFL as a backup. Never a starter, but backup I think is fine. Doesn't have that kind of factor.
The Saints are fourth overall in total defense this season. I think we're gonna see how he really looks this week.
Okay, you think he's gonna get finally exposed?
And on the other hand, the Seahawks are 32nd in overall defense, so that's gonna make Jameis actually look good.
That's the other thing. They've invested a lot of money in that defense, Seattle, and they're not keeping up. And that's Pete Carroll's specialty too. And they're not keeping up their end of the bargain. They haven't for a few years actually.
Legion of Gloom.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Legion of Doom, very soon.
Yeah, that too.
I expect Smith to not look cataclysmically bad, but rather average, as I think any backup would. But I still think the Saints are gonna win. That's basically my take on that. But I'm glad to be proven wrong. I mean, everything everything bad that happens to Seattle is just something that's like a bright spot in my existence, of course. No worse franchise in sports history, obviously, than the Seahawks. Had to get that one in. That's all the games. We got 6 teams on bye, so bye weeks are our regular thing. We got the Bills, Cowboys, Chargers, all pretty good teams, by the way, all competitive teams on bye, and then also the Vikings, Jaguars, and the Steelers not playing this week, and they'll be back next week. So that is the full slate for Week 7. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Smokey, do you have anything to add to these games first and foremost?
No, I think that's it for this week.
All right, do you want to give us a quick overview or a quick teaser on what's going to be debated in the fantasy world this week?
Yeah, definitely. This week, last week I started talking about tight end breakouts. I want to keep that rolling this week with wide receiver breakouts. I'm going to tell you when they happen, why they happen, and who is going through it right now. That will help you project for the rest of the season.
Wasn't it A.J. Brown and Kenny Galladay at the start of the season for you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Kenny Galladay has not been healthy, and I don't know, like he had some kind of spat with Daniel Jones, and it just hasn't worked out. But AJ Brown, it's gonna work out, like we saw in this past game. He got fed and he was productive with it. I think for the rest of the season, we're gonna see AJ Brown pick it up.
Yeah, it might be, especially if Julio's out for a prolonged period of time. That is entirely possible. I will say, though, I'm going to need you to name a certain 49er in that video. If not, I will be mildly disappointed.
Who,
but
Debo?
That is, yeah, he's
Yeah,
like one of the receiving leaders this year.
Yeah.
One bright spot of the offense.
He's up there with
good.
Mike Williams and Jesus. Oh, so not Paris, but Pittman. That's it.
Yeah, I like him all. He reminds me of Julian Edelman a lot this year. Maybe better runner even.
Yeah, I'm bigger. I think.
Yeah.
He's got the size over Edelman, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that videos. Hurry up offense, fantasy football news and advice coming up on this channel later today. So be sure if you're a fantasy head to check that out. Also, go to our poll and let us know who your current MVP is. You can vote if the season ended today, who's your MVP. At the moment, I think Matthew Stafford has a slight lead, but not that many people have voted yet. So make your voice heard there. Let us know your predictions in the comments as well for this week and all these games. And we're gonna see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard. Ha. Check.